Welcome back to Scoundrels, Inc., another Star Wars podcast. Thanks for clicking play and joining us here today on today's episode. You know what, Brandon? It's just me and you today, buddy. But we have quite a few things to talk about. An Ahsoka trailer, another one dropped. I guess the official Ahsoka trailer dropped. And people were like losing their minds. So we're going to talk about that trailer, obviously. And then we're going to be starting our Ahsoka Essentials episode series of episodes as we run up to the premiere of Ahsoka on August 23rd. And we also are going to talk about this giveaway thing that we're doing, Brandon. So people should tune in because on the other side of the logo, we're going to tell you how to win what we're giving away. And hopefully that keeps them in suspense until we're finished with the logo.
Are we back from the logo?
We're back from the logo, Brandon, and I think we probably even lost listeners and viewers. But no, so I talked about, this giveaway, and part of the reasons why we wanted to do a giveaway is to kind of generate a little bit more interaction and community on our channel, even though there are several great Star Wars communities and channels out there that have wonderful conversations and discussions all the time. We also kind of wanted to do something similar, but obviously have our own spin on it with the likes of Kevin Smets, Brandon Hanna, Sean Sullivan, and myself. I think we offer something a little different with our personalities, and it's always a good time when all four of us, or three of us, or two of us, or just one of us is talking about Star Wars. And we want to engage the audience more in that way. So we thought, hey, why not bribe them with a giveaway to interact more on our channel? And here's what we're giving away, though, is to be in theme with Ahsoka coming up. We're going to give away an Ahsoka Black Series figurine. And obviously there's a Rebels version and a Mandalorian version. And if you happen to win the giveaway, we'll ask you which version would you prefer, and then we'll do what, Brandon?
We'll send them the other one.
We'll send them the other one. No, we won't. Or will we? I don't know. Okay, but here's
Or you might end up with a shock T. Who knows?
And we'll just write Ahsoka on the cover. They were all out of stock, and we just put shock T. But here's how to enter our giveaway. Here's how we're going to do things. Like I said, it's all in the name of generating more community involvement, engagement. And all you got to do, it's real simple. It's real simple, Brandon. All they have to do is just leave a comment on our video about what we discussed on the episode. Like today's episode, we're talking about the Ahsoka trailer and 2 Ahsoka episodes. And if you want to leave a comment or even question about what we discussed here today, that will be an entry into our giveaway. And also, I came up with this like 2 minutes ago. I told Brandon, I was like, I don't know if this is anything, but I said, hey, if someone replies to a comment, we're going to make that worth 2 entries. Again, we're all trying to just, we're trying to, hack the YouTube algorithm, if you will, in some form or fashion. I don't know if that'll work or not, or if people will even reply to other people, which I think you should engage with your fellow Star Wars fan. That's always fun. And then here's another wacky, wild idea. For 5 entries, if you send us an email, and we do have an email address, believe it or not, it is scoundrels4.inc@gmail.com. You can also find it in the description, and it's probably right here on the screen as well. But if you're a podcast listener, thank you actually for subscribing to the podcast feed. But also you can go in the description and find our email address in there. And if you send us an email, that'll be worth 5 entries. Now, you're probably asking, well, why would I send you an email? What do I send in the email? Here's what's going to happen. This week and next week, so you have like 2 weeks basically, to get this email in for 5 entries. All we're going to asking is just send us your story on how you found Star Wars, and just type out an email, send it to us, probably include your first name and then the last initial or whatever. Just somehow we can identify you. Or if you want to leave like your YouTube username in there and all that stuff so we can connect it all and whatnot. Not a huge big deal, but just make sure we can identify you somehow. And then send us an email on how you found Star Wars, and then on a later show, we'll read those emails, and we will put it out there into the community and just share stories about how we've all found Star Wars, because we've done that in previous episodes here on the channel with our Skywalker Saga series. We talked a lot about that, with whether it's Phantom Menace or New Hope or even the sequel movies. So we kind of want to do that thing, and then after those 2 weeks, we'll give you another prompt for another email for an additional 5 entries. So we're trying to have fun with this little giveaway thing. We're trying it out for the first time, so please just indulge us for a little bit as we try out this new little thing and trying to have a little more engagement and fun on the channel. Brandon, are you
Yes.
are you going to comment every week, reply, and send an email and get your entries in?
It depends. If I send an email and a comment and a reply, do those all stack up together?
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if I do it from like a burner account?
Well, well, you know what? Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
But you know what? You're actually going to have to do it from a burner account, because if I see it's from you, you're not even eligible for this giveaway. So you better do it from.
Oh man, I really want that shock tea.
All right. So let's also just. I think you just want to talk about the Ahsoka trailer.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, because when this thing dropped, Twitter went crazy. Not so much Threads. That was kind of weird. I didn't see too much chatter on Threads yet.
Yeah, all the Star Wars action's on Hive.
I always forget about Hive. We do have a Hive account. Don't go follow it. Don't follow it. We're not gonna
Follow it. Do it.
We will only go back to Hive in like the case of like an apocalypse, and somehow the guys running Hive are still alive. No, but this trailer, I was pretty content actually with the teaser that we got a little while ago. I was pretty cool with that. And then we got this trailer, and I thought for like a hot second, I don't know if I really need to watch it. But then I was like, well, we do a Star Wars show, so I probably should watch it. But I say that to say my interest was already thoroughly piqued. Brandon, did you, like, for your own personal taste, did you need another trailer?
I mean, I wasn't even expecting one. I thought the other one was like the only one we were going to get.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I did watch the Nun 2 trailer before the Ahsoka one, so I had my priorities in line.
Sure.
But yeah, no. I thought it was great. It kind of gave me like a little bit more excited for the show. Kind of. It seemed like we've heard some like new things about some of these characters, and I feel like some of that stuff was like confirmed. Like Balin Scroll. What's his name?
Skull. I think, yeah, Balin Skull.
Balin Skull. He mentions Anakin by name, which is pretty cool. He knew Anakin, so that's pretty sick.
That's pretty cool.
I wonder if he knew he became Darth Vader.
Yeah, that's a great question, actually, because he seems, Balin is, I think, safe to say, dabbling in some dark side, and he's like, his dark side brother over there in the Darth Vader costume. I'm like, hey, did I see you at the academy? Like, one thing one thing that surprised me from this trailer was how much more I felt information we got on Sabine and kind of what her journey has potentially been like. She references, or Ahsoka more or less, or rather references the fact that she walked away from Sabine the way she walked away from Anakin. She's in the middle of the trailer, she's giving this little speech, and I think it was in reference to Balin talking to her about how Anakin talked highly of her, and he's like, I never finished. I walked away from Anakin the same way I walked away from. Maybe she was talking to Hera, actually. I think, now that I'm recollecting, she's saying this to Hera, and she walked away from Sabine, and and then we see Sabine cutting off her hair. She's looking at the hologram of Ezra, and she's wielding the green. Ezra's presumably his lightsaber, right? And she's fighting Shin Hati, and it's like, what is, and we know she has training with the Darksaber from Kanan, so it's like, what's going. And then actually, I don't know about you, Brandon. My ears really perked up when she called Ahsoka Master. It sounded a little
Yeah.
sarcastic, just like harking back to when she was training, with Ahsoka and Sabine.
Mhm.
So I don't know. What did you think about that part of the trailer?
Yeah, it had me like wondering because obviously, like I've only seen like the first 5 episodes of Rebels, but
Sure.
I'm like, is Sabine like secretly like force sensitive or something? Like, is she like being trained by Ahsoka at this point? I'm like, it got me like wondering. I'm like, is she like leaving her like Mandalorian heritage behind to become like a Jedi all of a sudden? Like, I didn't know what was going on, but I mean, either way, it's cool even to see like someone who's not like a Jedi or a Sith or whatever, or force sensitive at all, like wielding a lightsaber and like training with it. I think that's just like a cool concept.
Yeah, and I was seeing a lot of talk about this on the internet, Twitter, and YouTube and whatnot, and comment sections and stuff. Like what? Yeah, kind of like what you're asking. Is she force sensitive? Is this going to be a thing? It'd be kind of weird, but not totally. And one of the things that came to mind actually was, there are people who are kind of like, oh shoot, what's his name? I can't even think of. I see his face. Max von Sydow. He's
Laura Santeca.
Laura Santeca. There we go. Laura Santeca. He's kind of like a believer, a follower of the Force, right?
Hmm.
And you have people like this throughout the galaxy. Presumably, right? He's not the only one. I'm sure there's a handful. And my thought goes to, well, what if Sabine is, through Ahsoka, learning about the Force? And I think, but what would prompt her to want to learn about the Force? And I think what might prompt her is Ezra. If I can somehow, in her mind, I'm speculating here, of course. In her mind, perhaps it's like, if I can understand the Force more, maybe that can help me find Ezra, or he can somehow connect me through I can, something through the
Hmm.
Force, by learning more about it and potentially tapping into aspects of the Force. Obviously she's, at this point, I don't think she's Force sensitive in the way that would necessitate, what am I trying to say? Necessitate her training as like a full on
Hmm.
Jedi, even though Ahsoka is like, I'm no Jedi, right? So I was like, well, what if she kind of falls more in line with the likes of like a Chirrut Imwe, right? Kind of like
Hmm.
this Guardian of the Wills type of thing, and she's more, you know, a believer of the Force, the Church of the Force, if you will, kind of one of those. And she got some lightsaber training from Ahsoka at one point. She
Hmm.
has dark saber training from Kanan, which is more or less lightsaber ish, right? Same type of deal. So I'm wondering how much of that could be within Sabine at this stage in her life, and in her search for Ezra. I don't know. How does any of that sound wacky, or like you like, maybe not? What do you think?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I could see it like kind of like almost like being like a Churret situation because I've always felt like Churret, he was force sensitive, but like a small amount. So like he couldn't like levitate something with his mind or like do a
Yeah.
force push or something, but he could use the force to basically see, like we saw him like fight like a whole battalion of stormtroopers and like
Right.
shoot a TIE fighter out of the sky. And those are things a blind man can't do unless
Right.
he's using the force to kind of like feel his surroundings. Um, so I always like interpreted it that way. It's like he is in tune with the force to a degree, but he's got like a low midichlorian count, but they're
Yeah.
there.
Well, because they always talk like the Force
Hmm.
is in everyone. It's just to
Yeah.
like degrees in which you are able to tap into it. And I think he even says at some point in Rogue One, he was like, the Force helped me.
Hmm.
It wasn't necessarily him controlling the Force. It was the Force helping him. Like, its own entity of,
Yeah.
it's aiding him. And like when he's going for like that station on Scarif, right? Like,
Hmm.
he's not using the Force to deflect laser bolts for him to get there. It's more or less the Force is, I think, in that moment, influencing the bolts away from him, like it's aiding him. And I feel like perhaps Sabine could potentially be tapping into something like that, where she's fully like this believer of the Force and in tune with what it means to the galaxy and whatnot. And so I don't know. I'm really fascinated with Sabine at this point, actually, because of this trailer and where she is at in her journey, her psyche. We talk about, has she completely abandoned her Mandalorian way of life, her culture, and taken more of a Jedi approach? But then in the trailer, she cuts off her hair and puts the helmet on again. And I don't know. I'm really, really fascinated by her story. What else did you think about the trailer? Anything else stick out to you?
Obviously, like I said, I thought the Anakin references were cool, and that confirmation that like Balin was like a former Jedi,
Yeah.
who survived Order 66. Oh, another one. Oh boy,
He could have been a part of it. I don't know.
he helps out.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
like, wait a
man.
minute. Yeah.
Yeah, like he just like tricks all the clone troopers. He's like,
Right,
"Oh
like-
yeah, no, we should kill these Jedi." Yeah. Like, oh, all right.
Yeah. That's it,
Um,
Bob.
He like slips on like a clone trooper helmet.
Right. Yeah. Who knows? But we did see Thrawn here.
Yes. Got some
And
live
the
action.
first
Thrawn.
legitimate viewing for the
Mhm.
public. I mean, there was obviously leaks out there from Celebration. It still is kind of surreal to see Thrawn in live action. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you've seen animated Thrawn,
Mhm.
even though you might not have gotten to those episodes. But I mean, how does he look to your human eyes?
He looks good. Like not quite like his like facial structure is like not quite matching up with like the animated, but I think we've seen like a lot of that, like with these characters that start out animated and go to live action.
Right.
So it's like obviously that's like not a big deal at all. And I think since it's the same actor, like once he starts speaking and performing, I'm gonna get like lost in that character
Yeah.
anyways. So like looking at a still image, I'm like, oh, that's a blue guy, But once he starts speaking, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, that's the Thrawn from Rebels that I've definitely seen clips of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, and also there was a quick shot of a Purgle and some of its tentacles as well. So I'm like, man, I can't wait to see the Purgle in live action. That's gonna be so sick.
other
I
than
just-
that one brief moment in Mandalorian,
Right, it was like a silhouette, but this was like full on, right in your face. Purgle.
Rastars.
Yeah. What if like it's like Rathars like hitch a ride on Purgle? That'd be kind of sick. And
That
just,
Purgle throw Raftars at people as weapons.
damn, that'd be sick. That's a whole nother level. That's like 4D chess for Purgles.
Yeah, Palpatine wish he thought of that weapon.
Right. Maybe he would have squashed the rebellion with some Purgles and
Mhm.
Raftars. Another thing in this trailer that really, really piqued my interest was this presumably other Sith, not Sith, or Inquisitor, right?
Yeah.
And with that gnarly, spinny, lightsaber. Because I feel like we see the same Inquisitor in like that shipyard,
Mhm.
and it's like more of a brighter setting. And there's like another shot of them running towards that ship in the background where it's shooting down. But then towards the end of the trailer, we see them like in this darkened forest. So I'm wondering, like, I heard speculation that it might be like the eighth brother that we thought perhaps had died, but maybe they're back now. But I'm curious to see just like what kind of role this Inquisitor is playing, because like the Empire's no more, Darth Vader, Palps, they're all gone, right? Like how is this person operating? Because it seems like Balin and Shin Hati are like on their own type of thing, because they're looking for Thrawn. Whereas I thought before maybe they're like in league with Thrawn, and like Thrawn like had like hired them or whatever. But like they're looking for Thrawn, and they were looking for Morgan Elsbeth, and they find her, and does she even know where Thrawn's at? And they're like in a map room, which I thought could be the world between worlds, but I think it's probably just a way to get into the world between worlds. I don't know. Yeah, this trailer was wild, man. And like they showed a lot more, but I also at the same time I don't think they really told us anything like concretely at least because here we are, or at least me, just speculating like out of the wazoo.
Hmm.
Um, Brandon, did you feel like the trailer showed enough or too much, or yeah, what was your take on what's your take on that?
I think it showed just the right amount. It like gave me more about the story and got me more excited, but I still don't really know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I that's a great point. I still don't know what's going to happen. I don't know exactly the timeline when this takes place because they show the Rebels mural, that we saw in the
Hmm.
series finale, and I don't know when this stuff is taking place. I think I heard it was like before the episode, the Jedi and Mandalorian. Like it takes place before that, but then
Hmm.
some of it takes place after because of the mural scene. And well, maybe it's not the same scene because Ahsoka is Ahsoka the Gray with her gray, cloak, and in Rebels she has the white cloak, and it's like so much is going on with this trailer, and it's giving you, I feel like, a lot, but just like there's no context really to place all of it and to kind of like make sense of it.
Hmm.
But we will be able to make sense of it on August 23rd. Not once, but twice. 2-episode premiere August 23rd. Really, really looking forward to that. Are you gonna watch it at midnight, Brandon? You can stay up late, get some popcorn,
I don't know.
watch some
I
Ahsoka.
I do get sleepy.
Well, what if you took a nap?
I think I need to honor tradition and watch it in my car.
Yeah, the way Dave intended. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm really excited. I can't believe we're almost there for Ahsoka. It's crazy that we're gonna get a live action Ahsoka show with live action Rebels crew. We've seen
Hmm.
Chopper, Hera, Sabine. We saw Zeb in Mando previously, right? Um, it's gonna be a wild, wild ride. I am all for it. It's very exciting. Um, so yeah, if you for all you listening, watching, what did you think of the trailer? What was your favorite moments? What piqued your interest? What did it raise more questions than it answered for you? Let us know in the comments because every comment, Brandon, is an entry into our giveaway, and which is an
Yes.
Ahsoka figurine, Rebels version or Mando version. And if you reply to someone else's comment, well, that's 2 entries. Okay, so you could, if you leave a comment and then you reply to someone else, that's 3 entries right there. But then, if you send us an email and you tell us a story about how you found Star Wars, well, then that's 5 entries. So you could get five. What's the math there? Eight
8.
entries, like right off the bat.
Hmm.
Incredible, incredible. And
Incredible.
and if you leave like meaningful comments, more than one like meaningful comment, obviously that's gonna you know stack up, more and more entries, and then increases your odds of winning the giveaway, Brandon. I don't know.
Yeah. And then if you want, Frank will autograph the giveaway for you.
Yeah, I will sign Ashley Eckstein and Rosario Dawson's
Yeah.
signature, whichever figure you get.
Whichever one you want.
Whichever one you want. I'll even, if you get the Rebels version, I'll sign it Rosario Dawson. And if you get the
Yeah.
Mando version, I'll sign it Ashley Eckstein. We can do whatever you want.
And
Whatever
we'll
you want.
address it to Snips.
Dude, Brandon, you've been watching stuff. You've been, you've been watching Clone Wars, huh?
Yeah, a little
A
bit
little bit, a little bit.
from time to
Well,
time.
yeah. Well, speaking of Clone Wars, Brandon, let's get into what kind of our Ahsoka Essentials series, where we're going through 2 episodes for the next 5 weeks now after this, where we talk about 2 episodes that are essential to Ahsoka's story. There's obviously she's been in dozens upon dozens upon dozens of episodes, but you know we're going through some of the ones that I think are key. So like if you didn't want to watch or didn't have time to watch Clone Wars or watch Rebels or at least her episodes or Mandalorian even, we think these episodes that we're covering on a week to week basis are good places to invest some of your time in to hopefully get something out of when you watch the actual Ahsoka series on August 23rd when it starts up. For this episode, we watched Season 3, Episode 21, Padawan Lost, and the follow-up episode to that, Season 3, Episode 22, which is titled Wookie Hunt.
Wookie.
Wookie. Yeah, I wish we had... Oh, if Kara... Oh, man. Too bad she's not... Darn it, it would have been great. Anyways. Now, I had not watched these episodes in about a year. I did a Clone Wars rewatch, because it's a lot. When you watch Clone Wars, like, man, it's 7 seasons. It's crazy. It's a lot of episodes. And they're great. But when I started up this episode, Brandon, we're on Felucia, right? And that's
the entire planet's one big jungle.
right. Which is, we previously first saw this planet in Revenge of the Sith. So I thought it's always cool to come back to like a planet in like one of the TV shows that we saw in the movies. I don't know how you get when you see like a planet like that.
Yeah. Think about the Order 66 scene. Think about Star Wars Battlefront 2 on the PlayStation 2. Was it Ayla Secura? Is that the one that
Ayla Secura? Yeah, I think that's her.
Yeah.
Or is it?
R.I.P.
Okay.
She never saw it coming.
Yeah, all of them. No, Ayla Secura was she was on the speeder bike on that other planet.
Sure about that?
I'm not. It all mushes together.
Let us know.
Yeah, let's know how wrong we are. That's
who was on the speeder bike.
Yeah. I think,
and
I can look this up easily, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, and then I also going to think about like Plo Koon, and I'm like, man, this guy talks.
Yeah, Plo
cool.
Koon.
And he speaks English.
That's right.
Like hello.
Yeah.
That was like more of like an admiral accent.
Yeah, it's like a. Oh, how would you? I don't even know how to. I don't even know how to figure out how to try to do his voice. It's like low and muffled, but like.
Ahsoka goes missing, and Anakin's like freaking out, and Plo Koon's like, "Well, anyway." Back
yeah, it's true. But I think one of the things that I like the most about this episode, one of the key parts I think that really lets you in on who Ahsoka is when she is with she's finally, so she gets like captured by these Trandoshan pirates, whatever, right? And I'm gonna tell you, this is brutal for a kid show. I'm not gonna lie. Trandoshans kidnap Jedi younglings because Jedi Knights are too powerful. So they go for the younglings and they put them on a planet so that they can hunt them and kill them for sport, right? Like that's like ruthless. It's like most dangerous game type of level, right? Except you're doing it with Jedi younglings. It's insane, Brandon.
Yeah, it's like Predators.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that was my thought immediately. Like, oh, it's just like Predators, and Ahsoka's like Adrian Brody. But I was like, yeah, this is crazy. Like,
it's wild for hey kids, I'm gonna tell you a story.
Yeah, and Ahsoka was taking it like a champ. I'm like, you were just throwing on Predator Planet, lady, and you're like, calm, cool, collected. All right.
Well, you want to know why?
The Force.
Well, yes, that, but also she was trained by the greatest Jedi of all time, Anakin Skywalker.
So the prophecy says.
Well, that's bringing balance. Dave Filoni says Anakin Skywalker is the greatest Jedi of all time.
I don't know. I'd like to see him fight Yarl Poof.
But
yeah, no.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I just had a lot of questions and thoughts during this episode. I'm like, man, all these younglings go missing because they're getting abducted by Trandoshans, and the Jedi Council has no idea. And then
we lost another one.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you think about the way Plo Koon reacts. It's no wonder why. He's just well. Anyways, it happens.
Basically, Plo Koon is well, if you did your job and trained your Padawan, they'll find their way back. So I guess we'll see if you did your job right.
If she dies, it's your fault.
Right. If she dies, if she never comes back, well, that's on you, buddy, because you apparently didn't train your Padawan well enough. And it's damn, Plo. But it's, so we run into this group of Jedi younglings that have been on there a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And here in comes Ahsoka. And she's like, let's get these moof milkers,
Hell yeah.
Let's get out of here. And they're like, you don't understand. with experience comes knowledge. I think is what I forget her name.
Yeah,
Khalifa, I think her name
that
was.
sounds right.
And Ahsoka's like, we cannot run forever. Like that's not going to get us anywhere. And she's like, my master would be livid with me if I just hit and ran. And eventually, her infectious nature to persevere and get out of there, falls onto everyone else. And there's a part where this is the part I like about the episode the most, where it lets you know who Ahsoka is, and that's when Ahsoka is fighting off a Trandoshan, and then Khalifa shows up, and she starts choking the Trandoshan, and is about to kill him. It's about to kill him, and Ahsoka goes over there, and with like a gentle hand on Khalifa's hand is like, this is not the Jedi way. Don't do it.
Yeah.
And Khalifa realizes, that she's like tapping into the dark side, and it's like, I don't think he would necessarily find anyone at fault for being in that situation and going down a dark path, choosing the dark side because you're in a situation where you're being hunted. It's reasonable to, think of someone using dark side, having you can control the force. You can just force choke all these Trandoshans or whatever. If you have the opportunity to kind of like make your escape. And Ahsoka is here is like, we're not here to kill. Jedi don't kill needlessly, right? Ahsoka eventually inadvertently kills a Trandoshan in the midst of battle, and then the Trandoshan's dad is like pissed off as all hell. This is like, you're gonna die, kill you, I'm gonna kill you, I'm like, Jesus Christ. But I don't know, what do you think about that moment where Ahsoka was just like, hey, this is not the Jedi way?
Yeah, no, that was great. I was like surprised. I'm like, damn, you're just a youngling and you can do that? Like lift a guy up by his throat like you're freaking Darth Vader?
Shoot.
Okay. Because I was going to say, like 10 minutes ago, you were like, Ahsoka, you don't understand. We're younglings. They've never let us hold real lightsabers before. Like, so yeah. But there was like also like mentions, it was like, if you like listen to like the language, sometimes like they say youngling, sometimes they like say like, oh, there were Padawans here before you. So it's like in the past, like there have been other like Padawans that have been there and thought that they were like, well, I'm more powerful than a youngling, and then they end up dying. I don't know.
Which is, I guess, begs the question of like, if you're a youngling, then you go to a Padawan, right? So the younglings that were on that planet, they were there so long that you would have thought they were old enough to be Padawans at that point. It's like, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, they're like, we've been here a long time.
Coming out like it's like in Kong Skull Island with John C. Reilly when he crashes on the island and you meet up with him 30 years later, and he's John C. Reilly. Anyways,
that's what they should have done. They should have John C. Reilly.
Well, almost, because in the next episode we get Chewbacca. Okay.
Yeah. This one ever told me.
This is crazy because I'm like, wait a minute. He was captured on Mimban, right? He gets captured over here by these Trandoshans. I'm like, Chewie, what the hell, man? He gets captured a lot. But it was really cool just to have like Chewbacca in this episode, just as like the muscle, and just to and bring in more Wookiees, at the end of the episode. But before we get into the end of the episode, all right, you were not expecting Chewbacca, right?
No, not at all. And it was funny too, because like they did a good job. Like even with the animation, I feel like Chewbacca has like a pretty distinct look compared to other Wookiees. So when he came on screen, I was looking and I was like, is that Chewbacca? And then Ahsoka's like, he says his name is Chewbacca. I was like, oh my god.
Well, because they give him the bandolier,
Yeah.
And so it's like, well,
his face is very, I don't know.
True. No, you're definitely right. They somehow like nailed the look in animation form for Chewbacca. And I thought that was really cool because there is even a comic, a Chewbacca comic, where I forget the specifics of it now, but he's helping like this other little girl like escape, and she's like in conjunction helping him and stuff. And so like Chewbacca is always kind of like seemingly in some like scenario where he's helping like small children or young adolescents in tight situations. So just kind of, I don't know. I don't know if that's like a tradition somehow of Chewbacca, but it was cool to see him
Yeah,
in the episode.
they showed off his intelligence with making that like
The
transmitter out of like
transmitter,
a bunch
yeah.
of scraps. I thought that was pretty cool. And like,
And
and I like how like both plans kind of like ended up working, where his transmitter worked, but then like it ended up working out, and they like tried to like assault like that tower.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think another crucial part here that is meaningful towards Ahsoka's story is the remaining younglings, the two remaining younglings.
Hmm.
Um, look to her as a leader, that they were inspired by her, and that Ahsoka can inspire. And which is also to say, it goes back to Plo Koon saying, if you trained your Padawan well, she'll find her way back to you.
Hmm.
And this was a great reminder for me, at least, that a lot of what Ahsoka is because of Anakin. And I think that's such a poetic thing when you get further into Rebels and Twilight of the Apprentice and all that. Like when she fights Darth Vader, right? And then I think it's just fascinating, that we love this character Ahsoka, and the reason why we do is because there's a lot of Anakin in her, and I think that's why it's referenced in the trailer. Honestly, just to remind you of like where Ahsoka comes from, basically. Like, she knows what she knows because of Anakin. She has been trained a certain way because of Anakin, and that was reinforced in Tales of the Jedi with that one episode where he's just making her go through that. With the clones, the troopers are just that circle, whatever you want to call training thing that she ends
Yeah.
up having to need that training in Order 66 to escape, right? And so all of this stuff just really came, rushing towards me about this is like Anakin, prepared her for a lot of things that are going to happen, that have happened in her life. And I think it's just like, yeah, Anakin fell to the dark side, but Anakin, he says, Darth Vader says, he killed Anakin, but man, a lot of Anakin lives on in Ahsoka, and I think that's this episode, this part was just a really cool reminder, to me at least, of how influential Anakin is towards Ahsoka, because I think sometimes we forget that. At least I did. I don't know about you, Brandon.
Yeah, no, it really, you can see like Ahsoka is like everything good about Anakin is in Ahsoka,
Mm,
you know? Um, she's just like, when it comes to like her like morality and her convictions and all that, like she always takes like the no pun intended, the high ground.
sure.
Like she walks away from the Jedi Order. I know this much, Frank. She walks
Yeah.
away from the Jedi Order because she sees through all the BS that like, Anakin, like he stays and he becomes a part of like the institution, and it like leads to his downfall, being corrupted by Palpatine and the distrust within the Jedi Order and all of that. And Ahsoka was wise enough to just leave all that behind and not have
Yeah.
to deal with it. So it's just really like, like interesting character. Not that she's unflawed, because she's not, but like, she is kind of like, just like one of those characters that's like almost like pure of heart. Like I mean, like she'll, you know, kill someone if she has to, but she
Yeah.
tries not to. I've seen the last few episodes of Clone Wars, which I'm sure
Hmm.
we'll get to, and
Oh, yeah.
you see that side of her as well, where she, even like in like the face of danger and like her life on the line, she's still looking out for the protection of those around her. So
Yeah, and I think you put it really well that all the good that's in Anakin, the good parts of
hmm
Anakin, live on in Ahsoka, and I think that's totally correct, and it really comes through in all the stories that we've seen Ahsoka
hmm
in, and I think honestly, to see Ahsoka at this stage in her life, when we get to the series, the live action series, and to know that a lot of who she is right there is informed in large part by her teachings with Anakin. And it's going to be interesting to see that in live action. And obviously,
hmm
she's been on a lot of other different journeys and whatnot and transformations since Anakin. But yeah, I think it's a really it just really it informs me why I really do love the character of Ahsoka, because it is kind of like this other part of Anakin that has been cut off from us because he becomes Darth Vader. But there is this one person who can kind of carry on that Anakin torch, if you will, in like the most
Hmm.
honorable way. As you said, she doesn't want to kill. She will if she has to, but that's not her goal. That's not what she's aiming to do.
Yeah, she carries on that like rebellious spirit where she's like, if I have to defy my orders to do the right thing, I'm gonna do that 10 times out of 10, which is
Right.
what we see a lot out of a young Anakin. You know,
Totally.
like I don't care what I'm told, I'm gonna do what I think is right.
Yeah, so these were two really good early stories in Ahsoka's timeline, if you will.
Hmm.
Padawan Lost and Wookie Hunt, season 3, episodes 21 and 22. Next week, I'll tell you right now which episodes we're going to get into, and it's still more Clone Wars, but we're going to season 5, episodes 19 and 20. They're titled To Catch a Jedi and The Wrong Jedi, which look, that's part of a larger arc. Obviously, if you know this part of season 5, and Brandon was just talking about it, she walked away from the Jedi Order. So this is part of that. These two episodes of part of that arc, and we're going to get into that next week. That's going to be a lot of fun because that's a huge important part, obviously, in Ahsoka's story and Anakin's in a sense as well. And I'm looking forward to rewatching those myself and having that discussion here next week. Before we wrap things up here on the episode, I want to get into two of the questions that we got in our Discord, and they pertain to the Ahsoka trailer. And again, if you want to send us questions to answer here on the show, you can go into our Discord. Links again all in the descriptions, and you can join our Discord and go into the Q&A channel and leave your questions. Right now, we're looking more for like interaction with the episodes that we're talking about, but of course, any and all questions related to Star Wars, or maybe not even Star Wars related, you can throw in there, and we will happily read them on the show and answer them on the show to the best of our ability, like we're about to do right now with Erdon 2.5's question, and they ask, "Will Balin die in the Ahsoka show, given that Ray Stevenson has passed on?" First thoughts on that, Brandon?
Um, well, I think obviously the show was like I think wrapped up well before he passed away. But I do think we'll probably see his character die just because like I don't know if I can see that as like a character that is gonna be like in like future Star Wars stories, just like canonically how that would like make sense to me. I mean, obviously, like we're always like finding out like, oh, this other Jedi is roaming around somewhere,
Right.
but um, it kind of seems like, and even though this is like post the original trilogy, we're kind of seeing these like old school Jedi kind of like dwindle off, and I just think that is like kind of like the natural progression of things building up to like Luke starting his like new Jedi temple and things like that. So that's just my first thought.
Yeah, I tend to think that a character like Balin, and for that matter, Shin Hati, like they're not long for this world. Like they live a dangerous life, and when you are an antagonist,
Hmm.
you usually meet your comeuppance and your doom, your demise in one way or another. Um, it's been floated out there. Will there be an Ahsoka season 2? I know Rosario Dawson has said if it does well, maybe they'll do a season 2. And it's like, would you bring back a character like Balin? How does a character like Balin survive the events that are going to take place in season 1? Because obviously, Ahsoka and Balin, they duel, they battle, right? We know that. We've seen that in the trailers and the teaser. Um, is that like their final, is that Balin's final um, play, part of his story, or does he somehow escape that scenario and then he ends up somewhere else? I don't know,
Hmm.
but I do think that his type of character almost will certainly meet his doom, and I think if that does happen in the series, it's going to be pretty tough because of the passing of Ray Stevenson. But I will also say I think if they wanted to keep this character for a potential season 2 of Ahsoka, or in Mandalorian, or in Filoni's movie, you know, you could recast. You could recast, and I don't think there's anything wrong with recasting characters in Star Wars. I know a lot of people have feelings about that, especially when it comes to legacy characters and whatnot, and the aging, or things of that nature, right? Um, you kind of, in a sense, in a way, recasted Han Solo for Solo, even though it's a younger version of Han Solo. So you're gonna get a younger actor, right, in that time frame. So it is a bit of a recast of sorts. And look how that went over. Like, not too great, because that's a beloved character. Balin, we don't know anything about this character really. So it would be interesting to see if Balin does survive these events of Ahsoka, and I don't know, but I tend to think the character will probably meet their doom in this series. I don't know. Okay, we have one last question here from Thomas HH, and they ask, in the new Ahsoka trailer, it seems so that Sabine is Ahsoka's pupil, or Padawan even. It's possibly misleading, but do you think that she may be Force sensitive, or just in training for sword fighting lightsaber? Brandon, we kind of talked about this a little bit, but
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it kind of like, I think it could be like somewhere like in the middle, like we said, or she like maybe she can like be in touch with the Force. She can't quite like have the powers of a Jedi, but she can like feel it around her and kind of like use it. Intuition, things like that. And I don't know. We'll see. But that's my take. Maybe like less than a Jedi apprentice, but more than just like sword fighting.
yeah, I don't see Sabine becoming Force sensitive, just because of how much story we've gotten. It's
Mhm.
We've gotten with Sabine. Although, as I say that, I go, well, wait a minute. Luke didn't realize he could use the Force until he was like 18, 19 years old, right? He
Yeah,
had
Obi-Wan's
no
like,
idea.
have you tried using the Force? He's like, what? Oh,
What
crap.
the hell is that? So it's not out of the realm of possibility. I
Mhm.
just think it's not very likely. I just think that to me, if that were to be a thing, that deserves like its own story, away,
Mhm.
like not a part of the Ahsoka thing. It'd be really, like, I would be interested how you would execute such a storyline within, which seems to be kind of a pretty, I don't know, I don't want to say complicated storyline with Ahsoka, but there's like, so I feel like there's so much going on there with the Imperial Remnant, the New Republic, her squabbles with Thrawn, finding Ezra. There's an Inquisitor, out there still running around. Other threats, possibly, right? And then you want to throw in the fact that Sabine
Mhm.
is also Force sensitive, and like, it was already a lot that we're like, whoa, Sabine was training with Ahsoka. How does that work? She's not even a Force with her the last time we saw her. So I don't think she's going to be Force sensitive. I do think she'll be, she's going to go to some meetings for Guardians of the Wills, and and kind of go that route, more of a believer, kind of. What if, Brandon? What if she ends up with Lor Santeca, right? And
Mhm.
is like in kind of like a group. There's that believe in the Church of the Force and all that stuff, right? I don't know. That could be interesting. That's where I think it could go, and it would make sense. And that'd be pretty cool, actually, honestly,
Mhm.
in my estimation. So, all right, that is going to wrap it up for this week. Next week, as I had said before earlier, we're going to be talking about To Catch a Jedi and The Wrong Jedi. Those are Clone War episodes, season 5, episodes 19 and 20. So, if you want to send questions to us about these episodes, or even comments about the episode, go to our Discord, link in the description, and let us know what you think about those episodes, and join the conversation. Again, we're having a giveaway of an Ahsoka Black Series figure. And how to do that is leave a comment. That's one entry. If you reply to a comment, that's 2 entries. And if you send us an email and you tell us how you found Star Wars, we'll give you 5 entries into the giveaway. Is that too complicated? I don't know. Just leave a comment, hit like, subscribe to our channel to be a part of more conversations like the one we had today, and possibly even future giveaways, Brandon. I don't know. Maybe we do another one after we do this one. I don't know why I'm talking about the next one. We haven't even done the first one. But yeah, we'll see you guys next week, and we're getting ready for Ahsoka. I'm really excited, and we will see you then. I'm trying to think of a good sign off. What should it be?
Punch
Punch
you
it?
later, sky guys and gals and theys.
Scoundrel. Scoundrel. I like the sound of that.